at the left of the right. Yeah, that can be mine.
I think they need to focus exactly on their screen with all concentration, and yeah, that is the trophy. The Aegis last year was hoisted up by Alliance. This year, still 8 teams. Vici won't be out of the tournament, even if they lose another game to Newbee, and Newbee go up 2-0. They'll be going down into the lower bracket, but it's not where you want to be. Today, you can make it all the way to the grand finals. And here we go, into the bans and picks, and Vici Gaming are going to get their doom.
Yeah, but this time they did ban the Shadow Shaman. They didn't want to give that away. If you look at what Newbee picked before, it was not only the Doom, it was also the Chen that came later. Right now, they may be feeling, okay, that Chen was really good. Want to try that again? What do you think, Odds?
I don't think they'll be picking up early on in the draft. I think that they need to kind of put everything else together first, and then the Chen comes later. So to me, you look more towards the rest of the heroes that will fill in the pieces, the offlaner, the supports, apart from the Chen. I think that just gives away too much about what your strategy is going to be for the next game.
Fair enough. And this is a Tidehunter hero that we haven't seen. I think it was banned on the previous game. It's going to be showing here for people that... Actually, for people that maybe are tuning in for the first time in Dota, there's also another stream showing called Dota2 that are explaining this draft and all the games in a much more simple way.
Yeah, it's fantastic. A lot of good feedback from that. So if you're new to Dota, when you get into the Dota client, you can actually just select the commentary, and you can do the hashtag new to Dota, I think it is.
Yep.
And yeah, you can get everything explained to you. I listen to it.
It is good, isn't it?
It helps.
That's how you got to 5.6
yeah,
KM.
That's how I got to 5.6. So we're going to have Tide and the Luna again. So Tide's been a huge hero this tournament, Melini.
Yeah, Tidehunter was actually picked in the most recent series by Newbee versus IG, and Xiaowei actually didn't even get a kill that game. He was 0-4-6, and teams have a couple of ways of dealing with the Tidehunter. Usually it's a Chronosphere or the Doom, though, in this day and age. So curious to see if they're going to go for
Skywrath Mage also with the silence is pretty good against Tidehunter.
I almost think like Doom's enough, though, just because if you can remove that Ravage for the duration of a team fight, you normally end up potentially winning the team fight more often than not, because that Ravage is, you rely on it so much when you pick a Tide. It's like you often can pick around it like this is our big team fight ultimate. So, even with Luna, who does have a big ultimate with the Eclipse, it's not like guaranteed damage. It's not safe. It's not a stun. Luna needs time to be able to right-click. But Tide does buy you that. If you get a good Ravage off, that's enough time for Luna to be able to put out some significant damage. So it's a good combo, certainly for Newbee. And as we go back, it's now going to be Vici to pick up their second hero, Ancient Apparition.
Yeah, and that's another hero that creates a lot of team fight and anti-team fight. If you pop that ultimate inside the Chronosphere, inside a Magnus RP, even though Magnus is not a hero that we see so often, but any kind of hero that can hold people together, then you are at a huge advantage right now. And if you look at Tidehunter, Luna, Newbee wants to team fight. Vici Gaming's reply, well, if you're going to team fight, you're going to team fight at a bad condition.
Yeah. And you mentioned the Faceless Void, the Chronosphere. I think that's a hero we could see come out later on in the draft, since it was on the game 2 as well as game 3 when Newbee beat IG, winning both of those 2 games. Even though Xiaowei didn't play it amazingly well, still has the potential to come out here in game number 2. I think for Vici Gaming, they're going to be looking to go for a much more kind of safer draft here. Run the supports in the safe lane, put Doom in the offlane. That's really where they got caught out in game 1.
I wonder if Vici's going to take a page from Newbee's book and run the Doom and the Spectre. It was something that we saw. What they did was Spectre Haunt, and then they Doomed the Tide. And if you have Blink, it doesn't matter because you have vision of them. And this might even be an evolved strat with Ancient Apparition in the mix for more global presence.
That could work as well. And something I'm concerned about if I'm Newbee, Sunshine and Banana, they will have to do a top-notch work in stacking. Because we have Tidehunter, we have Luna, 2 heroes that are really good by themselves, but they rely a lot and they get their advantage by farming those Ancients, farming those big stacks. So if Sunshine and Banana are not moving around, you're not really taking advantage of these 2 heroes.
I mean, I'm okay if Tidehunter just gets the Ancient stacks, especially early on, because Tidehunter can farm that so much faster. And Luna's, as long as you've got a safe map, you have so many camps, in terms of you should be able to be like, constantly farming your lane when it's safe, heading into the jungle. If you've got some life still, going to make it maybe a little bit easier. So certainly we're going to see that Tidehunter, take advantage of the Ancients on the dire side for Newbee.
A lot of talk was made about FY and Fenrir not getting too much accomplished last game, but as is Super too. Super, he usually doesn't like win his lane, but that time of period immediately after laning phase, he usually takes control of the map and gets a couple of kills, takes down the tower. So I would like to see Super on a more active hero than Dragon Knight.
Newbee's third pick this Viper, and again, they want to kind of try and punish a bad early game for VG Gaming. If for whatever reason, VG Gaming struggle in the early game, they line up with Viper, Luna. They've got this scary team fight, but they've also got this ability to push down towers. Viper goes for the fast mech. Luna has the aura to help with the push, and that's where VG Gaming have to come out strong here in game 2. Otherwise, we risk a repeat of game 1.
Yep, and with Viper, Viper's not a great Doom target, so it's another kind of trouble for that Doom, but also puts a lot, again, more emphasis on that Doom potentially getting his ulti, the Doom up on the Tide. Do you really want to throw it on a Luna or a Viper, Ben? Is that something that you would consider?
Probably Doom the Viper if he's a mech carrier. We'll have to see if that's the case. And Newbee, they're really looking to win that mid lane, though. If you ban out Razor and you pick Viper, there's almost no hero that can at least get even CS with Viper, I'd say, in a strict one-on-one matchup. Of course, there's going to be support interference, but your go-to one-on-ones will usually get absolutely destroyed by Viper.
Yeah, again, Super, not many of his preferred heroes left in the pool, so maybe we see an Ember Spirit in the 3rd or 4th pick, but it's tough. Super's heroes are taken out. Nature's Prophet, 3rd pick, and this means VG Gaming are going to be mixing up things as far as their lanes go, because normally Doom's in the off lane, but maybe they're going to lean towards like a greedier jungle Doom here.
Yeah, we've also seen a couple of safe lane Dooms when they predict that they can go against an off laner, and that actually allows for a really fast mech if you get the Doom in the safe lane. We don't often see a safe lane Doom kind of rush that blink, but Nature's Prophet and Doom in the same lineup for VG Gaming. These are, two heroes that ROTK plays.
Yeah.
So you don't know which one he's necessarily going to pick up.
I'm going to guess it's going to be a Nature's Prophet for ROTK, and it can be a support Doom, like a roaming Doom.
I think it'll be a Super Doom, actually.
You think it's a Super Doom?
I think so. I don't think there are that many great matchups.
I think it's a Sylar Doom.
You think it's Sylar Doom?
Oh, wow.
I think I would agree.
Let's get some panel MMR back in.
I think Gods, was it you guessed Newbee would come out and take the first game?
Yep.
So you're actually at 5,025 MMR. Sorry, Bruno and Ben, you did drop some points. You're in the 4K bracket.
Damn it.
Already.
Welcome back.
VG Gaming get a Vengeful Spirit with their extra Brution, so a lot of ganking potential here, but I think more than anything they'll want to just try and focus on shutting out the offlaner first and then rotating towards the mid lane.
And Newbee, they still are open to getting a Mirana here. I mean, you saw the Shadow Demon Leshrac. Didn't work so well for VG Gaming. Newbee can still bring them. And sometimes it's nice to show the other team, okay, I can play your strat and beat you with it. But Mirana is still a pick. And as a support, it can work. IG does it a lot. Chuan, amazing with that hero. Maybe one of Sunshine or Banana can surprise us with that pick as well.
So it looks like VG, or Newbee thinks the same way that you guys do. They think it's going to be a Sylar for Doom, and we'll ban out the DK instead.
Still focusing down those mid heroes. Last ban coming, it was a Jakiro, I believe the ban was. And Newbee move on to their final pick for their other support.
It does feel like Newbee have gotten in VG Gaming's head. Like banning a hero like Jakiro, for one thing, this hero is like 0 and 5 in the tournament. Not that that's really relevant when you look at this game on its own, but it shows VG Gaming are just paranoid about some kind of cheesy push strat coming their way from Newbee. They're just worried that they lose the early game, they lose the game right off the bat, like that what happened in game 1. So VG Gaming may be a bit rattled here.
And Newbee has a lot of time to think about these because they still haven't used pretty much any of the reserve time. They can think about this last pick perfectly.
That's as you mentioned, Gods. They do seem like they're in the head of VG Gaming in terms of the ban. So Newbee get plenty of time for their last pick. Just looking for a final support. And they've already got Tide very safe on the lane. Viper pretty hard to kill mid. And just one more support. But it doesn't seem like they have too much kind of like obvious synergy and combos. It's very much like these are some very strong cores. Shadow Demon, you normally want Shadow Demon to roam. So what would you end up picking, Ben, if you're
Mirana, most likely. Chen's pretty good too. Just like a hero that can actually take kills with Shadow Demon.
Oh, what about that, Brian?
Okay.
We have seen a support Batrider before. I think
Could it be a support Tide Hunter as well?
it could be a support Tide Hunter. Empire actually ran support Batrider, and the other team stacked a lot, and he actually just, I think it was versus EG maybe? I don't remember which team it was, but he just went into the opponent's jungle and just stole their big stacks, and they stacked for the Batrider. So it was actually a very cool pick.
That's pretty good. And Vici Gaming is going to look at that and it's going to probably be a little bit confused. But if you look at the lineup right now, they have eventually with Aurora is going to help Doom. Nature's Prophet. It's also in the Ember Spirit. They might go for late in, guys.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It's a hard one to kind of hold. If you're Vici, you really need to get a decent start. We'll see what they can do here, as we're going to be getting ready to go into game number 2 here. Newbee versus Vici, and Super will be picking up that Ember. It's a tough one for Super. I think there's a lot on him to perform. We'll see what Zhao 8, he's going to pick up the Batrider, can do. But let's get the thoughts of our commentators as they're going to take us into game number 2, Newbee versus Vici Gaming.
And with that, guys, we're back underway for game number 2 of Vici versus Newbee. There we go. We've got some sound in the house. Newbee, Lumi, they made a great run in the bubble race, and here, with a win here, if they take this, they're into the winner bracket finals. They get to sit back, watch DK versus EG, but Vici, they've got to want some revenge after the way that game 1 went.
It felt like Newbee never stopped their reign of terror, and it's continuing right now. They're 1 game away, like you said, and this is a very explosive draft coming out from Newbee. We haven't seen too much of Tai support. It looks like we are going to see it today, as Shang will be selecting that hero. The question a lot of time when it comes down to Shadow Demon as a support is, how much roaming are you going to do? How much kills are you going to get? But Tai Hunter early on with Gush is okay in terms of setting up a little bit of ganking, but not exactly the best ganker in the game.
We've actually seen this level of greed really backfire in the past, I would say, historically, for the Chinese teams. IG, to me, was the first team to really do it, where Batrider was let through. They went for it as a 4th pick. I believe it was versus the old Zenith when Ice was drafting through them. It was the game where he did the no ban strat. And what happened was, you go for a greedy support like a Tide or a Bat, and they just punish you in the laning stage. You're too inactive until you get your ultimate or your Blink Dagger in the case of the Bat, and that's how they took advantage of it with the old Zenith. Let's see if something similar can happen here. I do like going for the Ember as a last pick. To me, he's a hero that if you know he's coming early, you can punish him with an early Orchid carrier, a Doom pick potentially, but when you get him this late in the draft, you look at Newbee, what do they really have for an Ember? If he gets farmed, there's just nothing. There's a lasso, and that's really about it.
I think the key factor, like you mentioned, is if he gets farmed, and his lane enemy is going to be Viper, which traditionally beats a lot of melee heroes, including Ember. The harass is going to come in strong. So I think if you're Ember Spirit, if you want to win the lane, you really got to holler at your supports. Fenrir, FY, I need some help mid.
And don't forget Sylar. This is a Nature's Prophet getting farmed, hopefully anyway, if you're Vici. And you know there's going to be a more inactive laning support, I think it's fair to say, generally in the Tide Hunter. He doesn't have the best killing potential at the early levels, just Gush, and not too much burst damage. So if Sylar gets his early start, he can come in, potentially get cold feet from FY, and if that happens, it will be a dead Viper. But with that being said, the lanes are underway, and we get into it. Super mid up against Moo on the Viper. As you mentioned, if left 1v1, the Ember generally struggles here, but he is starting Poor Man's Shield. He's been pulled some regen, so about as ideal of an item build as you can get to deal with that harassment.
Some good early game scouting coming out from Newbee here. They did see that invisibility ring gets taken. You can see that Banana is hanging back a little bit on the mid lane, protecting that Viper. With that said, Xiaowei is now rotating up top. I believe they started this game with Xiaowei going bottom and placing a ward. So they scouted out the lane, and they now has a lane that they are a little bit more favorable in. It is still somewhat dangerous to go offensive trialing against the Ancient Apparition, though. Chilling Touch almost allows you to win essentially any kind of trialing versus trialing engagement with that kind of burst damage output from Chilling Touch.
And we see after the way that game 1 went that Vici Gaming don't want to get too committed to these ganks. They might go for a movement here soon. For the time being, they're just going to head towards Banana, drop a Sentry, and see if there's any dire vision. And there is some, but it's actually back here. So it's a double Sentry drop, and they get absolutely nothing. In good news, though, there hasn't been too much emphasis on blocking off this jungle. So something that the Doom can turn towards later on if he has trouble. For now, getting a lot out of the offlane, actually, and something that Nature's Prophet can eventually abandon the lane and give it to his support. But for the time being, very passive start, which to me is something Vici Gaming are absolutely fine with. You've got 3 cores that don't do too much in the laning stage, and already your Ember actually 5-0. He's having a pretty good time despite that tough 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, I think the tri-lane is going to be the place where we're going to see the first blood. I did talk about the early game Gush a little bit earlier. It's not exactly the most spammable spell, but if you consider the fact that everybody gets plus damage from Luna's aura, everybody will hit quite hard. Considering the fact that there's also probably 2 Shadow Demon created illusions.
There's still Chilling Touch, though. I mean, to me, that's the trump card here. If FY gets it off, you're just not winning that matchup. You've got 3 ranged heroes with Chilling Touch.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't run offensive trial lane to farm there. They really will need to start looking for kills, and so far, we haven't seen any initiation coming out from Banana. We haven't seen any roams come out from the Newbee support. So I think if this goes on, Newbee is going to start losing the lane because Vici, they're pulling creeps, they're going to get the better experience, they're going to get the better farm. This is a concern for Newbee.
The other thing that the analysts talked about, which we're not seeing, is the ancient stacking and farming. Something Luna can do decently, but really the Tidehunter excels at it. And that's one of the main reasons why we see the pick. No, Super taking some harassment with, will drop the chains retreat, but top lane. They try to scout out RTK, but this is where your support Tide just can't do anything. But yeah, to return to my point, what we generally just, when the Tide gets picked, you farm Ancients, and that's one of the big reasons why this hero is so strong. You can farm a quad stack once you hit level 7 or so, and well, they're not going to have that extra farm accelerator this game, and that means that we have to look towards the Bat, the Viper, and even the Luna to do more than what they normally would.
Bat Rider, exactly.
It's a smoke. Vici Gaming are heading bottom.
Oh, they're gonna
and now how he does have the high move speed here on Luna, 380 to be exact, and he is scouting. You can see him just moving through the woods, trying to break a smoke. He really expects this rotation to come, but he just made a pass, and maybe it was a bit too early. He hugs the right tree line. This is where you want to be in case that stun comes through, and in the end, the smoke about to dispel. They'll have to go now and forever hold their peace, and they just can't get a range for the Sprout. Good effort by Sylar, and now they'll back off. In good news, though, Vici Gaming aren't giving up kills when they fill these smokes.
They're definitely giving a ton of experience, so Hao is now safely farming under his tower, and with this boost damage, he shouldn't be missing too much last hit. Sure, they're losing a ton of health on that tier 1 tower, but I really doubt it. Looks like TP's gonna come in after the disruption. They're gonna go right on FY. FY, though, he's really gonna get blown up under tower. They want a little bit more. FY gets on the first blood. They want Fenrir as well. That's 2 stacks so far, and the beam's gonna come in soon. That's gonna be yet another kill. Newbee, again,
Meanwhile, at the top, Rune moves on the chase. He's found Super here. Wanted to go for Rune and Moo, running him down quickly. The poison attacks continue to flick through. It's not quite enough, but man, he's committed. Super's trying to bait him in close. Now he gets the TP. He gets the chains off. He hides in the trees. It's still a kill for Moo. Newbee make it 3-1, and they force out the TP. But they do at least get some extra experience here on the supports. Ancient Apparition now hitting level 3.
Yeah, Newbee is striking very fast as well. They are dewarding a bottom ward that's going to allow the rotation towards mid lane much easier. It's okay in the sense that 1-for-1 trade happened on the mid lane. Obviously, Viper got the experience for the trade, but as an Ember Spirit, you really can't ask more than that. I think getting a 1v1 trade is almost okay for him.
It's very fluid here from Newbee. Like, as soon as they bring the Bat Rider down bottom, they just say, you know what, Xiaowei, you're going to take over this lane, and we're going to rotate our supports towards top. So that way the TP's not wasted, and he can hold the lane. And frankly, it's a Bat against a Prophet. You're not killing this guy. Not without the level 6, not without the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast. It's just a very efficient set of movements from Newbee. Not just that initial TP, but the follow-up decision-making wastes as little time as possible. And we were talking about support Tide not doing much, but once he gets level 6, that all changes. And already, he's up to level 4, off to a pretty good start here, Sangshan is. So for now, Vici Gaming starts to push through the bottom lane. They've got the Prophet ultimate, no Ancient Apparition ult just yet, and they will catch Xiaowei TPing in, just can't get in range for the stun. No boots on Fenrir. They'll summon the Trance, and they may get the tier 1, but will there be a rotation? No Eclipse ready, Hao, not gonna be able to TP after that. And it looks like they'll get, nope, they dive. They go for Xiaowei, and they will find the kill. He got a little greedy, does hold the tower for now, but those are the kinds of kills you don't want to be giving up. When these supports were level starved, this can bring them right back into the game.
Yeah, simple mistake from Xiaowei, something he'll think about over a dinner, but definitely don't want to be giving those free kills.
He's hoping Vici are his dinner. he's going to have a Hobbit lunch and then another one later on. Newbee, go for the tower deny, they don't get it though. And now they find Sangshan. Where's that rotation? Nobody coming in, no, they're just going to back off. No mana here, and they'll just retreat. But they get closer to level 6 on FY, and to me, Vici Gaming are the kind of lineup that can have a mediocre laning stage and still just crush the mid game. You've got Ember with minimal lockdown to deal with him, really only the lasso, Ravage, I suppose. And that's the kind of game where Ember can run free, and he's actually not farming very well, 16-2, but he has a good comeback here in the woods. So let's see if that happens. Meanwhile in the jungle, you're doomed. fishing. He gets lassoed as their follow for this. He's got a war stomp as well. If they get in too close, he can really punish them. And, well, goes for the stop, connects on two. Now the follow-up's there, and they might find the return kills, but they do lose the Doom to start it. Ember zipping in and out of the fight, but tanks an eclipse to the face! Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. Newbee, more heroes at the point of attack, and that's a 2 core for 1 trade, not what you're looking for.
You can see that in this game and the game previously. How is a carry player that loves to get involved in the early game? A teleportation, drops the Eclipse, and basically wipes out just everybody on VG Gaming. Now the gank from Doom is not bad per se, because every time your Doom comes off cooldown, you really want to be ganking with it. And he's getting a ton more experience as a result. But Ember Spirit dies once again. And this is, like you said, a hero that really needs to do a lot in the mid game. And these deaths don't really help him. He's not farming well, like you said. And that's mostly due to the denies on Viper. If you look at him, he's got 20 denies on the mid lane. The experience as well as the farm disparity on the mid lane is just massive.
We've still got a very explosive lineup here from VG Gaming. I think that was the term you used earlier as the draft ended. And I want to emphasize this. Even though the laning stage has not been great for them by any means, they get their Ancient Apparition ult now. The Prophet ult cooling down in 25. And with the Ember, a very mobile ganker, anyone who gets caught out with an Ice Blast and a Prophet ultimate is probably going to die. So I think that's the key here for VG. You just look for the ganks when Doom's ready, when the Ember's got a Remnant down in the right location, and just try to kite around Newbee. Don't fight them 5v5 into the Ravage, which is about to come online, but just go for pickoffs, and they will smoke. There's an Observer Ward here, but it's out of range to spot that one. Maybe VG can find an opening, but diving this tier 2 bottom and doing it against a Viper, it's very risky. Ravage, not ready yet. Sunshine only level 5.5. And here we go. In through the front. They're going to try to knock down the door. Sylar, he phases in, he gets up the Shroud, and now they can follow this one up. H.F. for Ice Blast. It's a quick surgical kill, and now they can retreat. They force out 3 TPs. There's a gun, but this is a tanky Doom. He's already got the Buckler online. They force out everyone from Newbee, aside from How, and they get nothing for this. And they still lose their Viper. Great movement from VG.
Yeah, those TPs would have came much sooner had Shang had that level 6 and the Ravage. And looks like the tower might actually go down.
He might get it in this fight if they're not careful. Remnant in, Remnant back, onto Sangshun they go. Don't let him get level 6, don't let him crack it. Oh, he's close. They get the kill. Now RTK stopping and retreating out. Eclipse, not ready. You've got 30 seconds on that one. Super trying to retreat out though. The poison stacking up. Takes a Lucid Beam. Viper in through the front. TP's on top of the squad. And takes another Ice Blast. It's going to be another death for Moo. He shatters, but maybe it comes with a trade. FY retreating out. They get more. They're looking for some additional kills. It's 3 dead, 4 dead. It's a wipe, and it's a dieback as well. They've lost everyone. The Ember, 2 deaths to his name.
And suddenly the Luna is going to be hitting level 10 very soon. If you look at gold to Xiaowei, he buys the Blink Dagger. When it rains, it pours here. Newbee is going to get a ton of gold, a ton of experience. And not only that, all of these teleport scroll that was committed earlier, that was not going to do much, suddenly all paid off for Newbee. So Newbee off to a beautiful start. I think they're going to get a tier 1 tower out of that as well. If you look at the Batrider, he's pulling the creeps into the jungle to accelerate their push. What a smart play coming out from Xiaowei.
It really feels that VG just overstayed their welcome. H.F. Original will come in. But they had used to. They get a clean kill on the Viper, and they force 3 TPs. You can just back at that point. You don't have to commit for that one. The tower didn't even take damage, and they're really not the best pushing lineup at this stage. The Venge doesn't even have a... She's got no points in Wave of Terror. Does have 2 in the Aura, but that's about it. That and Treant. So I think you just back after that one, and they didn't do it. And well, Newbee were ready to punish it. And I need to point out, Lumi, that was before Ravage came online.
Yeah,
now they've got it.
I think that's the point. Vichy decided to make a very, very big, aggressive move because they realized Ravage isn't on, and the timing window of that Ravage becoming online is getting smaller and smaller. So I think what they really want to do is a big play and then just stabilize from that point on. But that big play turned against them. Ravage now on the side of Newbee. And obviously we mentioned the Batrider, the Eclipse almost hitting level 11 on How. So it's looking really, really bad. Also How, if you look at him, he's not afraid at all. Normally at this point, Luna likes to get BKBs or drums. He's going for a straight Midas. He's looking to stabilize his income and go for the late win.
It actually reminds me a lot of how VG Gaming like to play. Normally they run more of like a 4 protect 1, and you've got Sylar as the single core. And when that happens, he generally plays a bit greedier just to give them a late game option. But here we go, Newbee smoked up, moving towards the mid lane. Simultaneously, VG Gaming prepared for a movement of their own. Do they have a smoke? It is ready on FY, but Xiaowei might scout this one out. They smoke, now he retreats, walking right into Sangshun they are. Is there follow-up? There's an Ember forward. He can jump in, catch out one, and he will do it. There's gonna be a shatter here. Oh, he just melts. Great pick off by VG. And that also blunts the Newbee offensive. They'll retreat. That's the kind of trade you're looking for. Just a quick, clean kill, wait for the Ancient Apparition ult to cool down, and then do it again.
Yeah, very surprised that Tyhunter didn't just drop the Ravage because Batrider and his rest of the team was nearby to give assistance, but gonna hold that very long cooldown ultimate and just take it to fight another day.
Look at how farmed Sylar is right now. He's almost got an Orchid. This is concerning because, I mean, we already mentioned the pickoff potential, but you give him an Orchid and he can solo kill the Shadow Demon potentially, let alone some of these other heroes. Ancient Apparition comes in, that's anyone who gets caught by that is a free kill.
I think the silence is going to be fairly important, but at the same time, I think Newbee is very well equipped to deal with that Orchid. Disruption should be able, obviously if you don't silence the Shadow Demon, Disruption could help out his ally, you have Mech coming in from the Viper very soon, and eventually there is going to be a Black King Bar and Luna. All of these ways could indirectly or directly deal with that Orchid silence.
You say eventually, and I agree if they get them, but we're going to have a fight now. Vici move in, Newbee smoked up for this, and they want to get the jump with Ravage. It's Xiao Wei who goes in first, and he'll pull Sylar in, but he gets caught by the chains. In fact, 2-2, now the Doom on the move. Forced to retreat out, while Super will dive him. A few more right clicks will finish him off, but on the south side of the fight, there's chaos, as Sangcheng unleashes the Ravage, brings down 3, looking for a bit more with the poison, they'll find it. It's 4 again. Vici just keep on getting punished. Now Hao running, they can't finish the job. He's too fast, and they're looking to run him down. They'll stack up the poison. It's already level 4. RTK may die to this. The chase, 3 stacks of poison.
You just TP out, there's no stuns.
Well, he doesn't know that though. Has he checked the mana yet?
Yeah.
Well, now he'll make his way out.
He'll just walk it off.
Still, another disastrously bad fight for Vici Gaming.
How is Hao surviving with 10 health every single game? Because last game...
Those power treads, man.
Yeah, power treads. Nice stress swap. He started the fight intelligence and swapped it back to strength. Just a little tiny plays, it all counts. And of course, oh, the Ice Blast, it's coming in. They see it though. You can see he's moving out of the tower.
Just out of range.
I would move a little bit further from the wall, but...
Hao is just showing off.
Yeah.
He's like, I know exactly how big this Ice Blast will get, and it's not going to find me.
For the newer viewers at home, you can see the Ice Blast as it moves past your tower, so it gives true sight. So that's why he was able to see it coming and move out of the way. Normally, it is invisible.
Well, Newbee, they'll group up towards the mid lane. We've got Hao ready to go, and they're going to pop their buckler. They'll try and take a tower now. Ancient Apparition is available. So too is the Prophet ultimate, and it'll be a trade when it comes to the ult. Now the zip in. Ember, straight onto 2. There's no Ravage. There's no backup for Newbee, and the trade will come. Mu will fall. They swap it a third, make it a 3 for nil. Vici strike back, and they also take a tier 1 top. They're just having their cake and eating it too at this point.
Yeah,
what a swing!
Yeah, what a swing indeed. FY hitting the big ultimates. He's been hitting all of them, not missing a single one. And now RTK gets a new toy to play with. He's already got the mech and now the Blink Dagger online. I think blinking in to actually stop the Tide Ravage, or better yet, stop that Clipper coming out, is going to be absolutely huge for Vici Gaming. And they have what it takes to push. With Sylar now getting max level Nature Skull for a long while now, they're aggressively taking down these towers.
That was equally cocky from Newbee. You don't have Tide there, and you know the mobility of this Vici Gaming lineup. They sit mid, and, well, Vici punished them. They want to fight when the Ravage is down. And if you get those kinds of engagements, you're going to be in a great position. The siege continues. Doom is still available, and now they've got a blink on RTK. If he wants, he can jump in and take this Tide out of the fight. Ravage in 8. About to be in 5. Does he go in? Slide up fisting through. They take the tower. Actually, they're going to throw the Doom out of move to keep him out. But this means no Ravage. He gets Kraken off. He does get it in the end. The Orchid wasn't enough with the Kraken shell there, but still Mu unable to fight. And now the bat. He finds the opening. 3 picked off. They're slicing their way through Vici. If only they had kept the Ravage out, maybe they could have taken it, but now they've got to run. RTK onto the high ground. Blink is pulling down, can't get it off. The slice, the turn, maybe it comes down from the
back from Sylar.
Here we
Sylar's
go.
back in the fight. He looks to Banana. He's going to get a kill quickly on Banana. He's looking for a little bit more. Xiao Wei's got the Blink Dagger cooling down 2 seconds. Looks like he'll make it back home. And the teleport out from the Tidehunter as well. A very, very interesting Doom choice coming out from ROTK. There was no mech on Viper, so dooming him essentially does nothing. And obviously, I think dooming the Tidehunter would have done a lot more in that fight.
I don't even mind dooming him that much, but then they use Orchid on the Tide and immediately did a bunch of damage to him.
Yeah.
And I think you want to doom the Tide and Orchid the Viper, if anything.
Yeah, they did win the fight, but it was a costly one because Sylar had to buy back, and they already got their objective, which was the tier 2. So fairly interesting fight coming out from both of these teams. I think the big question is, when is Newbee going to get their force staff? Scratch that. Xiaoei's already got the force. So this initiation, it's going to be clean. It's going to give Newbee a lot of potential to get the crisp kills that they're looking for. It's going to basically render a defensive swap a lot more useless. So we'll see if Xiaoei's going to get those initiations. He's got to run away right now.
Super's the one who wants to initiate here as he jumps in deep. It's normally the bat, the one on the chase, but he sees the bat and he says, great, time to go in, baby. Well, I like the way Vici is playing this game because to me, at times they felt a little too reliant on their early roaming, but with this draft, the Prophet in particular, they had other options. When they were losing fights, they just played around that, and now they find themselves in the mid game, up 4K gold, a lot of that tower gold, but at least close to Newbee. Newbee want to break the game open. They're going to smoke. They head up the ramp and then down another, and they look for RTK, and they'll find him too with the lasso here. They can drag him out, but he's actually dragging him a bit away from his team. There's no Ravage. RTK can turn this. He gets swapped out of the fight. He's still got a back if he needs it. He can pop it now, and he will. And Banana's overcommitted. They've lost one. Ember zips all the way back towards bottom, and he'll push in that side while Vici continue their push through mid. And now they lose the Luna. Oh, no, the deny on the Tide, actually.
Yep. Let's see what Vici actually do off of this, because they have 30 seconds. They might start going in straight into the Roshan pit. Sylar is leading the way there. He's walking into the pit. Mixed trees outside of the pit, so maybe
There's
not.
Ravage, though. I think they just want to push this one.
Going for the tier 2. You can see that Vici Gaming is definitely playing with a sense of urgency. They bought back on Ember Spirit earlier. They just bought back on Nature's Prophet just now. They want to take the fights now because they know once BKB comes online for Hao, it's going to be much, much harder to win these fights. And they're sieging the tier 2 now. Hard to do it against a Bat Rider. There is no lasso though for the next 15 seconds.
Yeah, and this is where Super wants to jump in. He goes for the Sleight of Fist, doesn't actually drop the chains, and that'll be the opportunity for Newbee to retreat. But they just can't stall it. Even though you have Ravage, you have no way to get Songcheng into the fights, and that is the downside of picking Tide as a support. If he doesn't get his early farm, sure, you've got a really powerful teamfight ult, but Vici can just play around that. They can silence him with the Orchid and ignore him. They can doom him, and RTK can jump on him if he wants to. How do you get off a good Ravage this game?
I mean, it's very unreliable, but you can ask your teammate to force staff you in and give you that gentle push to drop that Ravage.
But it is a gentle one. It's not a full Blink Dagger in range.
With that, there is also a force staff being picked up on Ancient Apparition. FY, how well has he been playing this game, hitting those big ultimates?
Yeah, and that was, I think, the big thing for Vici is that they normally, it's the dual roam early for them, but also just the plays from their supports. We've seen a lot of FY Rubik just winning games. His Disruptor was just miraculous at times for them in online tournaments leading up to this event, and, well, he's got the opportunity to make plays on Ancient Apparition. The Ice Blast cools down soon. Prophet working towards a BKB, it looks like, and we might see for Vici Gaming a double BKB. In fact, Doom's already building one, so you'll have a double BKB, and at that point, Tide, Luna, I'd say like 80% magic damage from those two. You do have the Luna right click, but she's probably running when the Doom jumps in. Let's see, Vici getting ready to move. They group up near their tier 2 mid. Do they go for any sort of aggressive play here? Dropping a sentry for now. They're very worried about these lane wards. You can see sentries up towards the north side they dropped earlier, another one to the south. They want to make sure if they smoke that this isn't spotted.
Yep. A little bit of Ancient Apparition check into the Roshan pit. Nothing is happening, and that's exactly the way that Vici Gaming wants it. I still hold to the belief that they are playing with a sense of urgency in the sense that Midas is running on Luna. The BKB is soon to be made, and after that, the team fights gets a little bit more difficult, at least a little bit trickier for Vici Gaming. With that said, though, their late game is not bad at all. Battle Fury is almost going to be online on Super.
They have Venjara, they have Doom with the crit.
Exactly.
And the damage are as well.
An Ancient Apparition is no joke if you get land a 3 or 4-man ultimate on the end game. And obviously, Prophet is one of the best late game hero because of how mobile he is throughout the map. So
I just feel this Newbee draft was not designed to play defense. You're running Bat, who can be very good in these situations, but heroes like Viper, Tidehunter, and Shadow Demon, you want to get out on the map and force team fights. They have a very strong 5-man composition if they're leading, but when they're playing from behind like this and have no towers, they're just not getting to play the style of draft that they were meant to.
Yeah.
And you can see Vici are getting out on the map. Sylar's up towards the top, Super sitting on bottom and farming and pushing the wave. The Battle Fury's ready, and from there, the waves push even faster. They can start stacking, and at the same time, Newbee just not farm. They don't farm very quickly if the Tide and Luna aren't clearing out huge stacks, and right now, no huge stacks for them to farm. They had some earlier, but not that many, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the issue with this particular draft for Newbee is that where really is the burst damage? Aside from Eclipse, which has gotten them a couple of kills and won them 1 or 2 fights. When you have Batrider jumping in and lassoing somebody, you want to burst that person down instantaneously almost. We see all those, for example, in that mid-tier 1 tower fight, the Batrider was able to find the Doom, he was able to lasso away from the tower, but they just can't bring him down with the burst damage. And that allowed the rest of the team to come in, that allowed the mech to be fired off. So I think Newbee, realizing this, they really need to take smarter engagements and rely on that Ravage, rely on that Eclipse. And so far, I mean, Vici Gaming is not grouping up, so they were really not finding these fights.
They're 5-manning through their own woods, and meanwhile, Vici are farming 2 lanes. They can look towards stacking and farming the Ancients here if they want to. And if there's no pickoffs, then you're just going to fall behind. BKB on Luna sounds really nice, but you want to fight with this, and for now, maybe they find their opening. There is an Observer Ward top lane, and they're in position here on the high ground, Newbee are. But can they jump anyone? The D ward comes, Xiao8 could go for a lasso. And if you want to grab someone, it's probably the Venge, super fishing, but can't quite connect on the Sleight of Fist. There won't be any Searing Chains follow-up. But now they get the big item from Elo. It's a BKB on RTK, and it means he can just jump the tide if he wants to and just take him out of the fight, no matter what. Can't counter Eclipse, can't counter Ravage. If you want to remove him, he's done.
Yeah,
Same for the Bat.
Also, it gives him the ability to jump to the back line and just does not care, right? You talked about Eclipse as a big spell to block in. Once he is in your back line and just BKB and swings away, it is really hard for you to stop that Doom from going rampaging. And here comes Initiation. I think they want that tier 2. It's quite low. That will give them essentially complete map control once they get this tier 2 tower top.
They're going to force it, and Sylar's actually showing his face in the lane. He also has a BKB. He's even in the front lines. I wonder how committed they are to this push, because Newbee are at their strengths if they get off a good lasso, and Xiao's already looking for one. He goes in, he finds Fenrir, there's no swap. Where's that Sleight of Fist? It comes out, but they've already lost the Venge to start this. Now RTK, the Doom goes away in Hal, but with the BKB up, they can't really follow this one up too easily. Now they want to retreat, but RTK, he gets sprouted in by his own teammate. Oh, this is not good. Now it's Slade, and they just pop! Look at him go! Is there a trade? Ember back in. He's going to rejoin the fight super and look for more kills. Can he bring down Hal? He's fishing for him. Well, on the backside of the fight, Xiao8 continues pursuit, and they'll lose Hal. They'll lose more perhaps. Xiao8 trapped in by Sylar, giving him the right click, slapping Xiao8 down. He'll finish the job. Now Songchun could be next. Another Slate, another chain. It's going to be a wipe if he can't TP out, and he can! Vici find the answer. It's 5 down. And the Bat fought back and died again.
It's a game full of team wipe. It's a game full of diebacks is what we call it. And it's a game of Vici Gaming taking down all of the towers. If you look at on their side of the map, they haven't lost a single tower yet. Vici Gaming, we talked about Newbee's explosive start. You talked about Vici's explosive start. It's really Vici driving the game with a safe lane profit, not exactly something we see very, very often. Talk to me how big about that quick orchid. You talked about the silence coming in, but I think it's the fact that he's got the BKB. He could teleport in the middle of the fight and just keep right-clicking away.
And you really don't want to be focusing Nature's Prophet in these fights. You've got 2 of the, Ancient Apparitional, scouting towards the pit it looks like, but not going to find anything important there. But yeah, you look at this draft and you want to be focusing the Ember, ideally. And if you go for the supports, well, Disruption.
Just wanted to avoid a little bit of damage from the Ice Blast.
Yeah, we'll be fine. So, I mean, overall, that's not the hero you want to be focusing. And even if you lasso, if he gets off BKB, there's really not much right click. Yeah. And even if you kill Sylar, he can buy back. And that's the biggest problem of all. You commit too much on him, then he rejoins the fight, and you can just right click everyone down.
I mean, that team fight, at least at the start of it, went really well for Newbee because Hal was able to use his Eclipse and BKB at the start of the fight, and the Doom still went onto him.
They're moving in bottom, and they're looking for Xiao8. He's got a 4-step ready. I'll use it, along with the Blink to get out.
Yeah, so Newbee started that fight quite well, and they still lost it handily. I'm not sure whether that target sprout on the BKB Doom was a bait, because the Ice Blast really, again, hit on target. Here comes the Roshan, it's scouted out, but they need to really stop it.
It's too late. They got to go right now if they want to commit to this. And the Roche will fall.
Blink it!
Oh, the Blink. It's not in time. The Ember gets the Aegis, and they get the Roche kill. And now they look for more. There's a Spirit on the high ground, and they jump in. They're just driving Newbee out. They sprout up Hal. He didn't BKB for this. Now he gets duped. He's going to crack. No, defensively disrupted. They'll buy some time, but how much? Not enough. Banana dropping low. Newbee are getting run over. Vici Gaming closing in on their first lane of Rax.
This could be Rax. I think Yasha's already purchased on the Luna. That means there's no buyback on their best team fight hero. Tidehunter's got the wrap, but really, where's the burst damage? Where's the team fight? And Vici Gaming, they're not waiting for the buyback to come through. They are just winning the game now.
Yeah, come ravage us, they say. If you want to ravage, you're walking into 5. We're going to chains you. We're going to burst you down. The HF version ult is nearly ready. VG Gaming are not afraid, and they'll take the Rex with Ravage ready, with the Luna about to respawn. Do they even back here? They're going to go for more. They drop an Observer Ward deep in the base, and now they begin focusing the tier 3 tower. Your Venjar is already level 4, and they push quite fast with the Battle Period Super, RRTK with the pack leaders are. You win one fight, you take 2 lanes of Rex, it seems. When are Newbee going to defend? The clock is ticking, and it starts on move. Now the lasso. They have found the bench, but it's after the swap gets used, and after the Viper's down. So it really doesn't accomplish too much here. It does remove the aura, but do they find more? They need more. Super, starting to slide through. There's your Ravage. Connects on everyone. Beautiful follow-up. But with the BKB, can they finish off Siler? They do it. They've still lost the melee. It's a very costly defense, but Newbee hold for now. Aegis, will there be a buyback here for the Prophet? He could rejoin this fight if they want. Super, jumping in, wants to finish off Xiao. No Remnant forward to do it, and Xiao Hit starts playing keep away. Into the trees he goes, while Luna pursues FY. Looks like they will try to settle for the Ember as the trade from the slide. The right click, the deep, defensively disrupted. Newbee, they barely escaped there with the Luna's life.
Looks like FY might be a little bit troubled as well. He does have Ice Blast in a couple of seconds. Let's see if he's going to track out one of these very low health hero that's escaping back into the fight.
They have that Observer Ward up in the high ground. They could maybe go for a pick off. They're going to get Vision here, the Shadow Demon, and, well, in the end, FY just chills in the trees. He's probably waiting for someone to make their move towards the fountain. Here we go. Snipe. Here comes the snipe. Banana down towards the bottom lane. Has he predicted this one right, or is it going on mid? It's all the way to bottom. What a move. What a play. Bang. Snipe. Boom. Shakalaka. Banana in trouble here, Lumi. What a play. What an unbelievably crushing move from FY. How many players wait and expect him to just go to the bottom lane? That is some next level anticipation.
I mean, you saw a creep wave there, so.
Yeah, but with that HP, you normally want to go to the fountain. You don't go to far more.
Yeah, and the big items are really starting to come out. The Ancient Apparition picking out the Aghanim Scepter, more blasty. Looks like he's going to fly one up top. Not going to kill Hao, but it's going to really annoy him and force him to go back to the fountain.
So looking at the situation now, you're down 2 lanes of Rex already, a melee and a full lane mid against a Prophet. What do you do if you're Newbee in this situation? Is there any way to get back in the game?
You really want to go for the ultra late game where your 6-slotted Luna could just right-click anybody, but how do you get there? That's the question. Even if you do get there, VG Gaming very well equipped at that stage of the game, with perhaps a level 16 swap to initiate, with a Prophet to BKB and jump in, with a Doom to jump in with his Blink Dagger. I think VG Gaming is sitting very pretty, but they're not exactly 100% out of the woods yet. You still have to close the deal.
Well, they're going to look to close it now. They're going to get a Daedalus on Super, and they've actually removed the Alpha Wolfar. They go for a Stomp instead. RTK feeling, all they need is lockdown. This Ember can finish the job if he sticks around long enough.
Also, look towards the Vengeful Spirit. It's got the Blink Dagger online, so we can see a very long-range initiation out of her. And I think if you could find that Luna and doom her before she could pop Manta or her Black King Bar, you just straight up win the fight. And again, once again, Newbee does not have buyback. So if you win the fight now, you essentially take the last lane of Rax and win the game.
And meanwhile, on the side of Vici, you're looking at a Nature's Prophet with buyback. Doom does have it, and there is a tier 1 up mid, so at least in regards to a Roche fight, they can bring in potentially 2 extra bodies. But for now, they're going to hold serve and just push in the lanes. There's no hurry here for Vici Gaming. Maybe ultra late game Luna with Shadow Demon backing her up can take this, but I would say for the next 15 to 20 minutes, if it goes that long, they are still in full control of this game. And you can see Newbee they don't want to leave their base. They're just bottled in. They know the dire nature of their situation.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Newbee, they don't have any big item pickup that will change the momentum of these fights. Blink Dagger's online on Shansheng, and that's really the big one. It gives them another way to initiate or counter-initiate beyond the Batrider. But really, at this point, and for minutes beyond this, you just look at Hao and be like, how much gold you got? You know, what item are you picking up next? That's really it. They just need to take smarter fights because it's not items at this point. It's just simply execution. And you're trying to out-execute that against a team that has a 15,000 gold lead on you. That's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, and very elusive heroes. I mean, especially looking at the Ember Spirit. We go back to the draft, and we mentioned it, the analysts had a chance to talk about it a little bit. There's just not much to do with Ember this game. They pick the Doom early, and that means the best answer for Ember is already gone. And then the only reliable initiation is your lasso, which is searching bottom lane, shall we? We'll look, but Sylar's already made his way out. Yeah. It's just so hard to burst him.
I mean, The fact that Ember doesn't have a BKB, so you always essentially have some sort of lockdown, right? The Ravage could hit him, Xiaowei could get him. It's just not enough.
Like, they do have a blink on the Tide, but even so, if he's quick to zip out, you just completely whiff it.
Or if he's not quick to zip out, you also have the Venge to back him up, the mech from the Doom. So, yes, in theory, there's a way to deal with it.
Banana, he's gonna get popped top lane. Oh boy, he's not quite out of it, but he's not happy.
He could disrupt, but it's really delaying the inevitable.
There's an X. Oh no. Disruption. Find him a little time. This can actually be quite close. Do they finish that?
Okay.
Very close. Meanwhile, the Frill fight, they find move. Well, their Shadow Demon's out of it. They're going to lose the Viper under the shadow of the Tier 4 tower. How committing fully with an Eclipse, but not finishing anyone off. How being focused and kited. There's your Ravage. A beautiful one from Songcheng, but there's no follow-up whatsoever. No chance. BG Gaming crushed through, and they'll force a game 3.
I have never really seen an Ancient Apparition take over the game like the way he did. Those Ice Blasts on the mid game was really what gave them this lead. Ice Blast on the mid lane, get 2 kills, get a tower. Ice Blast on top, win a team fight. And really, FY, to me, the MVP player of this game.
And I think his most impressive play was actually that snipe bottom. It wasn't the key play necessarily, but it shows the level
icing
of player.
on the cake.
It was the icing on the cake, it really was.
Well, we are very impressed with FY. Let's see if the analysts and James think the same.